my distinguished colleagues, especially to the former mayors and governors, thank you for this opportunity. I stand before you today not just as a congressman, but also as a former chief executive to shed light on the issues surrounding the mandate of full devolution of certain functions as a result of the Mandanas-Garcia Supreme Court ruling. Beginning this year, while the LGUs have received proportional increase in their NTAs or national tax allotment, the executive branch also ordered a full devolution of functions by 2024 via Executive Order number 138 and National Budget Memorandum 138. The latter ordered the national agencies the following, and I quote, Mr. Speaker, number one, refrain from funding devolved local projects to first up to fourth class municipalities. Number two, include funding requirement for capacity building for these LGUs. And number three, limit the subsidies for local projects to LGUs belonging to the fifth and sixth class municipalities, geographically isolated depressed areas or GIDAs, as well as those ranked in the top third highest poverty indices. End of quote. The logic behind this is simple and well-intentioned. That since the NPAs have increased, the LGUs could now afford all public services legally devolved to them. But unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, when you go down to the LGU level, the implementation of full devolution of programs is not as straightforward as it seems. Hindi ho talaga kaya. This year, the budget problems are hardly felt since the LGUs have received considerable increases in their national tax allotment because these are still based on the 2019 national taxes. However, we all know that national taxes and incomes in the years 2020 and 21 have been hardest hit due to the global economic recession resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic. And I believe that this, among other considerations which I will present shortly, signal an imminent funding crisis for LGUs, at the very least in years 2023 and 2024. I will cite concrete examples for Ormoc City and the municipality of Merida, both under the district I represent. For the municipality of Merida, its problems begin with unclear income classification. It's classified as fifth class according to the DBM and fourth class according to the Department of Finance. Either way, its total 2023 reduction in funding reaches up to 23 million pesos. This has resulted in some canceled agricultural programs and 50% reduction in funding for medicine for communicable diseases and preventive medicines. The municipality's assistance for individuals in crisis has also been reduced. In the same way, its agri programs suffers a situation where the LGU is unable to fund the distribution of rice seeds and corn seeds for year 2023. While the problems are glaring for a municipality straddling between fourth and fifth class, higher income class LGUs are definitely not spared as well. Now, the situation in the city of Ormoc, a first-class independent component city, is both similar and different. Similar in that the LGU has also begun to experience reductions in NGA funding, or the National Government Agency funding, and NTA. Yet its various departments are coping in different ways. For example, because the City Health Department diligently processed its reimbursement for the COVID-19 vaccinations, it has now access to a special health fund, which they are using to fill the funding gaps. Because of this, their programs are only minimally affected. On the other hand, the city's agricultural office does not have the same access to gap financing funds now. They are forced to cancel some key programs, including its Maritime Development Program and Fertilizer Subsidy Program, which had a budget of 9 million in 2022. For Ormoc's DepEd, while full devolution has not been implemented for all programs, The construction of classrooms, which is most funding intensive at 2.2 million pesos per classroom, has been turned over to the LGUs already because the LGU of Ormoc could not fund all construction of classrooms. The Ormoc DepEd has resorted to prioritizing construction per face-to-face need and building classrooms using lower-cost building designs just to stretch the local school board's special education fund. Ang classroom po ay 2.2 million ang isa. Ang backlog namin ay almost 80 classrooms. 60 million pesos lang ang school board fund for 2023. 80 plus classrooms is 176 million. Classrooms alone, ubos na ang local school board fund ng Ormoc City. Another funding-intensive program is the construction of farm-to-market roads. And since the DPWH has fully devolved this for next year, and the LGU has not allocated any funds specifically for farm-to-market roads, it is most likely that none will be next year. Importante ang farm-to-market roads sa mga lugar na probinsya katulad namin. Sa Metro Manila, wala kayong farm-to-market roads. Wala rin agricultural program, so wala kayong problema dyan. From the point of view of NGAs or national government agencies, preparations for full devolution are also largely unclear. So far, there are only two departments, the Department of Health and the Commission on Population Development, that have approved devolution transition plans as per DBM's website. The problems involving devolution of programs are nothing new, with the problems always revolving around the lack of funding. In fact, this has been ongoing for 30 years since the enactment of the Local Government Code na sinasabi, full devolution program sa mga LGU. Besides the 3-year lag in funding source and use, we have a systematic problem because the current calculation for NTAs or national tax allotment does not aim for a peso-for-peso correspondence between the NTA that each LGU will receive and the cost of devolved programs for each particular LGU. Ang hinihiling ko, kung piso ang NTA natin ay babagsak ng gobyerno, sana piso rin ang i-devolve na programa sa mga LGU. Hindi ho pwede na piso ang ibibigay nyo sa LGU, 1 million pesos ang programa ibabagsak ninyo sa LGU, magko-collapse po talaga ang LGU. Kung hindi natin gagawa ng paraan, magka-align ang NTA at cost of devolved functions, palagi na lang magiging kapos sa budget ang mga LGUs natin at sila po ay talagang magko-collapse. In the next few days, I'll be filing 2 legislative actions, Mr. Speaker, one to address the funding gap needs, and the other to address the misalignment between the calculation of NTAs and the cost of devolved functions. I wish to reiterate the urgency on this matter, Mr. Speaker. Kailangan bigyan natin ng pansin ang nagbabadyang budget crisis ng mga LGUs ngayon 2023 and 2024. Pababayaan ba natin bumagsak ang mga LGUs natin? Ako ho ay galing sa LGU. Hindi ko kayang talikuran, hindi ko kayang pikit ang mga mata ko habang alam natin na pwede nating iwasan ito. In closing, I'd like to thank Governor Mandanas of Batangas and Governor Garcia of Bataan for championing the rights of LGUs. And lastly, I cannot overemphasize how vital the roles of LGUs are in how our country operates. Sa lahat ng mga nagsisilbi sa ating mga LGU sa buong Pilipinas, I applaud you and salute you. For our country will be without its arms and legs if not for our LGUs. And for all of us here in the House of Representatives, I hope and pray that we all work together and take action now. By God's grace, we just might strike that balance so that our country, our beloved Philippines, can get back on her feet as soon as possible. Dagan kayong salamat, Mr. Speaker. Mabuhay tayong lahat at magandang hapon po sa inyo. Thank you.